And I'm pulling up the article that you have in RT. White helmets use COVID-19 crisis to further U.S. coalition regime change agenda in Syria. If you want to walk us through that just a little bit, because most of the people in the chat, I think, and me as well, know what we know about the white helmets because of you.
Mm. Well, I mean, as you all probably know, then the white helmets are basically an Al Qaeda or an associated extremist group affiliate. They move with the armed extremist groups. Whenever areas are liberated, the white helmets rarely stay behind and take amnesty and reconciliation from the Syrian government. They move with those extremist groups to the new front lines, and there they provide media cover for those groups. They provide the humanitarian cloak of invisibility under which those terrorist groups operate and commit atrocities against the Syrian people in their neighborhood, including on the borders and in the actual occupied areas. And so what we saw when the COVID-19 hype started, when the hysteria started, we saw immediately, as if they had something prepared earlier, the white helmets dressed in pristine PPE and these pristine kind of, white suits and masks and carrying their bags, and it provided them with another perfect PR opportunity. Here are the white helmets providing sanitization, providing health programs for the refugees that have been driven out of their homes and displaced by the tyrannical Syrian quote-unquote regime. But in reality, what we have to try and put into context here is that the white helmets claim, and this is underpinning their self-promotion and, of course, the kind of industrial PR complex that runs their promotional and publicity material. What they promote themselves as is a humanitarian organization without any political affiliation. Yet what we saw at the beginning of COVID-19 was Raed Saleh, the head of the White Helmets, basically informing Senate what talking points they should adopt in Idlib, right? And calling for further sanctions, for doubling down on maximum pressure against the Syrian government at a time when effectively, according to the media and governmental hype, we were entering a pandemic. We were entering a time of humanitarian emergency. And yet here was this humanitarian, non-governmental, quote-unquote, organization demanding that sanctions be increased on the Syrian people, effectively. As I've just explained, sanctions are never against the government, they're always against the people, and there is no difference inside Syria. And here we have the white helmets demanding that sanctions be increased against the Syrian people, and yet these are supposed to be representing Syrian people. They're supposed to be representing the humanitarian aspects of the US coalition campaign. But I mean, we know that this entire humanitarian pretext for war is a fig leaf behind which the US coalition, the imperialist nations, hide their military adventurism and their capitalist plundering